Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Gray Man Prepping. It's time for Survival Saturday, and tonight's topic is dun, 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 dun. After California falls into the sea, what are your plans now? And how's everybody doing out there? For those that are new, I'm Gil, and we're covering some interesting stuff here on Saturdays, different events and stuff. Some which are plausible, some which are downright ridiculous, but for some reason they float to the surface. Alrighty, so let's go over to the comments and say hello to everybody over here. Looks like my ads finally ended over on my YouTube side here. So yeah, I had one that was a 3-minute ad for a first person war game type thing. Alrighty, so going up to the top. First one in was Walt Rogers, then Troop 1351, followed by Phelan Clan Wolf, then Dear Love Survival, then Mother Earth Garden Club, Aideneer, Kalen Strain, Happy Mac, Geeky Gardens, Angels Homestead, It's the Marshmallow Man, and okay, all right, there we go. All righty. All right, so what is this? Fourth or fifth? After the event, what is your plans? What are your plans now? And this one is one that is Hollywood would have you believe it's a high probability. And Jay's in the house here. No comment. All right, so let's go over here. I got some more points to go through here. All righty, so warning. Possible fear porn. Possible fantasy fear porn Kool-Aid drinking zone ahead. All right. And then again, maybe not. All right. So the popular thing is that all of California is just going to fall right into the ocean. And it's going to amazingly go right along the edge of Oregon and down along Nevada to Arizona, and then right on across Arizona to Mexico. And the whole thing's going to fall into the ocean. Wayne Hunter, welcome. So yeah, I'm like, this has always been one, and it's totally not based in any scientific possibility fact at all. But we're going to look at the stuff and explore it and have fun, poking fun both ways at it. All right, so causes for California falling into the sea. Man-made on purpose. I'm sorry, we do not have Lex Luthor firing nuclear missiles over there at the fault line to try to get the fracture to break off into the ocean. Man-made neglect. I can't think of anything neglecting that could do it unless it's some of the. No, they don't even have any nuclear sites in California, disposal sites that could accidentally go kaboom. And nature caused is the only one. And and yes, if anything happens, it's going to happen along the fault line. And Aiden says, what if it just floats off? That'd be a good one to see. Sumi is here, and Everyday Hero Truth Channel says, what's your take on the storms and heavy rain floating along the New Madrid fault could lead to another earthquake? Actually, the New Madrid's on the calendar for a couple months down the road. And so we will address New Madrid on New Madrid's night. All right, so let's move on down here and let's see what I got down here for nature causing it. Of course, we've seen the evidence. It's going to fall into the sea. You can see the fault lines here where it's already shifted and cracked. And the fault line's running up there for the San Andreas fault line. Interesting thing is about all these fault lines. they're not spreading apart. Let me go back up here. If you look at the marks here, it's shifting, not spreading. Yes, this one here, you come across from the peak here, and that's the peak down here. It has shifted. It's not spreading apart. It's still, it's not spreading. Okay, so let's go here. So here we have a map showing the San Andreas Fault, the major fault in California that could cause, which is everyone's favorite thing for causing it. And sorry, I'm just looking at the side chat here. All right, Diana 2's in here. Resilient Queen is in here. And so basically here you have the fault line, the San Andreas Fault. Well, down here, once it hits into the Gulf of Baja, California, the fault line takes different angles, and it's shifting in multiple directions. All right. And if you notice here, down in the bottom, if you can see my cursor moving there, or the bottom of the Gulf of Baja, you notice, hey, wait a minute, it looks like the tip of Baja, where it used to be connected to the main part of Mexico. Yes, it has shifted north. And you look at the arrows here, you can see where Mexico is going south-ish, and the Gulf of California, the Gulf of Baja California is going north-ish. And then you get up here, you can see where the fault line here is, and you can see the arrows here, the orange arrows in the middle here, showing the directions of the continental plate and the Pacific plate. And then you get up here near where there's the Mendocino Triple Junction, which is up by Crescent City. Also, there's another fault line going straight out into the ocean, and it suddenly is going multiple directions there. And the rest of us here is a subduction zone known as the Cascadia subduction zone. And what that is you got two plates. The continental plate, which is going basically mostly north and south, but it is going a little west, and the Pacific plate, which is going the other way, it's going south. It's going north, while the continental plate's going south, whatever. But it is going underneath the continental plate, and it's slowly going under, and it's subducting, and it's causing this to buckle. And when it does have an earthquake, it usually goes whoop, and that's what causes the earthquake there. It causes tsunamis and the other problems, but it's going under. So if anything, it's going under. It's building up the continental plate. And actually, on some of the along the even down here a little bit, heading down to San Francisco, there is evidence of the Pacific plate pushing the continental plate up, not down into the water, up. All right. So let's go take the next one here and get a closer look at it. And so it comes down here past Salton Sea on the south end. And of course, they didn't draw it all the way down into Mexico like they should have. But it shows how it goes around the cities and stuff. And, oh, wait a minute. Everybody that knows Corsair trainers, Steve over there, I'm not sure which side of the, down here in LA, I'm not sure which side of the fault line he's on. If he's on the eastern side, and it does fall into the water, he's got beachfront property. If he's on the western side and it falls in the water, he's going to have to get his Kodiak boat out and row. Either that or he's just going to start traveling north, which is most likely what's going to happen. Typo. Baja. All the Baja. Yeah. Okay. So with this, you can, since it's moving north, you can see how it's going. Let's take another look at it. What's going on here? So here's your, for most of the San Andreas in California on land, it's going froze. The ocean side is going north. and the continental side is going south. That's why you get the slipperage. And the big giveaway of this is an area called the Pinnacles down there in Southern California. Big rock formations that used to be like this, but they have slipped away from each other. And people go down there, they go hiking and climbing and cliff climbing and stuff on those all the time. Hey, Ferocious, how's it going? And I got that coming up, Ferocious, your comment. I got that coming up here. So this is what's kind of going on here. Well, even though there is some subduction going on, like 2% subduction and 98% slippage in most of California. Let's go down here. It is not going to do this. Let me make that big again. It's not going to do this. It's not going to go and instantly in one day have a major thing that's going to break apart, and it's going to do all sorts of nastiness, like, oh, it's going to break up and it's going to fall and slide into the sea. Wait a minute, we just said that. It's coming the other way. It's coming onto the land. And even if it were to go up on the land, the outer part's not going to go underwater. It's going to keep on, it's going to come up too. All right? Hey, Moon over Miami. So, yeah, Hollywood has this all wrong. Why? Because it makes a great storyline, and they can everybody poke fun at Hollywood and others. All right, because hey, in a lot of movies, what happens to the Hollywood sign? Either it catches on fire, falls down, has something fall on it, or it explodes in flames. So here we're going to talk about mitigation and recovery from it. Don't even worry about mitigation or recovery, because there's nothing we can do, because it's Mother Earth moving, not human cause. And recovery time, well, it's not going to happen for a while, and this is why. All right, so scientific artist renditions of what it's going to look like in 25 million years. Los Angeles will have moved 200 miles to the north and put it halfway to San Francisco. The Baja California will have spread away from the coast, because remember those lines that were going kind of funky down in the Gulf of Baja there? It's pushing it away. And so it's going to be going up towards San Francisco. In 50 million years, and the wording here is wrong, it's Los Angeles and San Francisco be next to each other. However, Los Angeles will not be a suburb of San Francisco. It'll be the other way around, because the San Francisco will have no place to go on the east side of it, because the bay will still be there, even though the Golden Gate Bridge Gap will have closed. All the water running off the Sierras will be filling up the bay into another large inland lake again, and so they have nowhere to go there. And since there's more land on the Los Angeles side of the San Andreas Fault that's moving north, it's going to be about 10 times the size of San Francisco. So San Francisco is going to be a suburb of Los Angeles, and a suburb of San Francisco. San Francisco is going to be the suburb of Los Angeles in 50 million years. But hey, are we even going to be around in 50 million years? So nothing to worry about there. And then in 250 million years, San Francisco is going to be down here, and Los Angeles is going to be way up here. Wait a minute, they're now part of Alaska. So yeah, so this is going to keep on going up. However, once Los Angeles gets up past up to close to the Oregon border, it's going to start subducting underneath the continental plate, and it may go up and suddenly go underneath, and then California will go into the sea. Actually, it'll go underneath the land, and so yeah, it'll be but I don't think it'll make it up to it'll make it up to Alaska. It'll go underneath by that point, and won't have to worry about it. All right, got a question. What about when the Cascadia subduction zone goes? Since most of the Cascadia subduction zone, let me go back up to it. Back up to the here, up here. So most of this up here from Crescent City north, the subduction zone is offshore. So that's just going to keep going underneath the continental plate. If it goes, and like I said, so you got the get my hands right so it matches the map here. You have the continental, no, you got the ocean plate and the continental plate. So the ocean plate's going underneath the continental plate. And if it has an earthquake, what are you going to have? When it has the earthquake there where it snaps and it pops open like that again, it's going to force water, a lot of water, away from the continental United States and leave a lot of muddy land there for an hour or so until that water starts rushing back in. And then it's going to be a massive tsunami going up into Oregon and Washington and Victoria Island up there in Canada, top there, and it's going to cause all sorts of flooding that way. There may be some, as it pushes waters out away from the continental United States, when it comes back, it's going to come back a little bit wider, and you'll probably get tsunamis going down, reaching down to Monterey, maybe even all the way down to Los Angeles. It all depends on how it propagates out into the ocean and forces water away, and as the water comes back, how it does things, it's going to affect here. But yeah, as you look back down here in the Gulf of Baja, you see how the lines are shifting. So that's what's going to push Baja Peninsula away from the continental U.S. there. The Portland-Seattle mess ends. Yeah, basically. It depends on how much of a snap it is. If it just builds up a little bit, it's think just a little one. It could be as low as a 6-pointer, and there's been some earthquakes up in that area that been like 6.8, 6.4, down into 5.3s where they've had a bunch of those, and those are some sort of shifting underwater. We don't know what's going on down there because it's underwater, so we don't know how much of it is. But if it happens along 100 miles or more of it, yeah, it could be a 9, it could be a 10, it could be if it does the whole thing, it could be a possibility of an 11 or a 12. Okay. Let me put it this way. In 25 million years, I don't think there's going to be much concern about being part of Mexico or not. Yeah. As it keeps traveling north, it's just going to be one of those things. It's going to keep on going, and if Los Angeles eventually plows into Alaska, then it'll be lining the peninsula, the Baja Peninsula will be along Canada there, or like I said, it may get up here where it reaches this reaches on top of the San de Fuca plate and actually go underneath Oregon, Washington, and Vancouver Island. All right, so now we've done talking science. Let's get into some of the other stuff here on it. Agglomeration of land chunks. Now, there are a couple little plates here, but behind the Juan de Fuca plate is the Pacific plate pushing it behind it. So yeah, there's basically also, besides the pushing towards each other, there's also the continental is rotating one way, and the other plates, Pacific and the other plates, are rotating another way as they collide. Yeah, it's a mess, but it's going to take millions of years. So even if it were to speed up at warp factor 24, we wouldn't see anything. Sassy girl prep, sassy gal prepping. Let me get my glasses cleaned here. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, there's over the next 20, even over the next 5 million years, there's going to be some major changes here. But hey, I have no intention of being around for another 25 million years. Yeah, I'm not going to stay up and watch it happen either. So, so everyone's saying, oh, well, it's, California's going to fall off. Let me go wrong way. Okay, 1971. About right where, if you hang on, let me put it up here. Right where my cursor's moving there, east of Santa Barbara, north of Los Angeles, Sylmar, the Simi Valley, Sylmar area here, there was an earthquake. And I love that earthquake because at first, for the first day, it was a 7.1. The next day, it was a 7.0. The next day, it was a 6.9. Then it was a 6.7. Then it was a 6.4. It took them days to drop it down, but the devastation was insane. All right, so from Los Angeles here, going towards the fault line here, this area right in here, right below where it says wildlife and that, the San Fernando Valley here, when that earthquake hit in 1971, the valley rose 4.2 inches. It went up. And it's on the west side of the San Andreas Fault. And it went up 4.2 inches, which means there was offshore coming toward shore, going northward, there was a push of material that lifted that part of California that's on the west side of the fault line. So yeah, there is it's California out here, the coast is not going to fall into the ocean. Another interesting thing is from about 3/4 way from Los Angeles to Santa Barbara, you have the coastal mountain range heading right on up, all the way up to Monterey, and then it picks up again, goes on up to San Francisco. San Francisco is actually sitting up on a mountain, the mountain thing, because it's not down level of the sea. It's up there. It's not as tall as it is in other areas, but so this mountain range here is getting taller every year. So it's not dropping off into the ocean. Now, the only thing, and I got to find it here. Give me a second. I forgot to bring it up here. There is some stuff going on. Let's see if I can find it here real quick here. Oh, it's not. I think. SXNPE. San Pedro. Get this map up here. Open the maps. There we go. Let me get it open here for you. All right. Let me take this down just a little bit smaller here. Okay, so this is San Pedro, and this here is the Portuguese Bend Reservation. All right, and Palos Verde. Okay, from Palos Verde, heading down south here, almost to San Pedro down here. Over the last several years, because starting back, I forget when it said the storms were, was it 2023 or was it 22? Anyways, I'm going to zoom out a whole bunch here. Yeah, I got to zoom out a whole bunch. A hurricane, and when it hit shore, becoming a storm, cut across here through past Tucson, by San Diego, and went up over this area here, and totally drenched this wildlife refuge here so badly that it has been slipping continually. On all the dirt on top is sliding off into the ocean. Yes, but what it is the base rock is not moving towards the west. The base rock is still moving towards the east, but all the water in the soil up here, so much so from Rolling Hills up to Los Verdes Estates and down over, this whole area here has become so saturated, it has never dried out during the summer times, the last several summers. And every time they get a good rainstorm down here, the ground gets oversaturated again, and it shifts. And there are some great videos out there, especially on Facebook on the reels, showing, they're out there showing the crews fixing roads that were like this now have shifted like this, and they're patching around to make the roads match up and stuff. And so, there's some, stuff going on in there. So yeah, so this part here isn't California falling into the sea. It's just sort of slipping off the base rock into the sea. Yeah, I think it's something worse. It's all the electric vehicles with all the cobalt and lithium and other more dangerous chemicals falling into the ocean. Okay, I'm not catching that one, Ferocious, but I'll look it up so I can see it later. KY fun to lubricate the plate so they glide instead of snapping. Yeah. All right. Dang, I wasn't sure going to go up the Cascadia so much on it. Let me pull up something here. California EA earthquake. Yeah. There we go. Probability map. All right, here we go. Yes. All right, so this is the one. I'm not sure which one of these is going to work out best. Let me just go to images and pull them up here. That's not the good one. There's the good old one from the USGS. Let me bring this one up big for you. Save images. Save that. Boom, boom. All right, so let me make that a little bit bigger here. All right, this map, which said had 30-year probability, is 20 years old, and the numbers have not changed hardly at all. So it talks about the probability of the earthquake fault line. Now, if you can see my cursor moving there, that's moving right along the San Andreas, right up to here. And right here where my cursor is moving is where the Hayward fault splits off of the San Andreas, which moves off into the ocean. All right, so we're going to drop that one down. And let me see if I can find the other scary ones here. And is this one it? No, that one doesn't do the good one. That one's not talking about it. The okay, let me do this up here. Hayward, California earthquake probability map. There we go. And let's go ahead and save that one. Save image as so I can make it big for you guys. All right, so this is San Francisco Bay Area. All right, so there's a 63 probability of one or more magnitude 6.7 or greater earthquakes from 2007 to 2036. Like I said, this is an old map. They have not updated it because as we go farther through this time frame, the percentage numbers should be rising. So the 21 right here, that's the San Andreas. Now, right down here at the bottom of it, where you see, you guys can see it, but there's black printing. So where my cursor's moving there, that from there going down off the map was the extent of the Loma Prieta earthquake. All right. So San Andreas has a 21%. The Hayward fault going on the other side of the San Francisco Bay has a 31% chance of having a 6.7 or greater earthquake. The Calaveras fault has only 7%, and the Calaveras fault has quakes on it all the friggin' time. Probably, I would say, at least 6 a year, but they're all 4.0 or under. So that's really, the Calaveras relieves a lot of stress. The Hayward, I haven't seen anything of significance on the Hayward fault for a while. Now, the Diablo thrust here kind of broke the Calaveras fault, which used to connect, which they used to believe was part of the Concord Green Valley fault, but they say it got broken there. So, personally, I still think that if one's going to go, it may jump the gap and go with the other one here. But the Hayward fault is overdue. 40 years overdue now for a major earthquake. I'm looking at a thing. They're still pumping a lot of oil out of that entire lower California zone. Some of the oil fields down there along Santa Barbara and down to Lompoc, yeah, they're pumping oil out still, but not like they used to. What else we got here? Not going to be good for the surfettes. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, how big would the earthquake have to be in California to make a tsunami reach Ontario? Can't. Ontario's would be on the east side. That'd need to be an Atlantic tsunami to get to there, because no tsunami hitting the west coast could reach Ontario, because it'd have to be over a mile high to get over the Rocky Mountains, and then it's going to drop in the plains and just kind of peter out. All right. Yeah. So this is not even, these are the major faults in the San Francisco Bay Area. There are several other smaller ones between the Hayward and the Green Valley. And there's another one which they're not even showing here that USGS tried pulling off their website, and I called them on it when I worked at Homeland Security, and they put it back, but they hid it. It goes for up the middle of the San Francisco Bay and comes out at Novato, up here where my cursor is moving up there. And there's a fault line that runs under there, but they're pretending that one doesn't exist because they can't really track it because it's under too much water and mud. So, but Hayward Fault is probably the most on the most watched fault in California for an earthquake. And bring that other one back up here. It's more watched than the San Andreas down by Salton Sea, which is this next major watched one. Okay. And I froze. Thank God for the Rockies. Well, it's not just the Rockies either, because Lewis, let me bring this back up again. So if there's an earthquake here, you got the San Joaquin Valley where all the food is grown. This is the breadbasket of vegetables and stuff for America. Along the Nevada border here is the Sierra Madres. And this mountain range here is upwards of, there's spots on it there where you drive through it. You're driving at a 7,000 foot elevation. So yeah, it has to make it over that, go across Nevada, hit Utah and southern Idaho, and then go over the Rocky Mountains. Yes, and that's down the road in June or so, talking about that. So so there are every Saturday now through the end of through January. Hang on, let me take a look. Every Saturday I got an event going on Saturdays, one of these events here, and so let me go down here to January 10th. No, January 17th is the last event I have planned so far. As people come up with good ideas for events and how we're going to survive them, email to me and I will add it to the list as we go along. So that's all right. So the science here we're looking at, no, it's not going to happen. Oh, let's play devil's advocate now. Uh-oh. Now we are going into a couch camping, Cheeto eating, BS thing, type of, fear porn stuff to say, hey, all right, we're going to play devil's advocate and say it is going to fall into the ocean. If it were to fall into the ocean, how am I going to do this? Hang on, let me put something here so I can draw on it here. I'm going to do some drawing here, and I'm going to go to go ahead and I got to drop that out, and give me a second. I'm creating something here for you. I really hadn't planned on doing this here, but I'm going to do it for you. I got to bring up, that went to that folder. Where did it go? I just saved those. Sorry, it's playing games on me here. All right, I got to look at it this way here. Details, go for date added. And go back to view of this. There we go. Copy. All right, now I can put this where I need to put it and bring it up for you guys. So I'm going to put this in the line here. There we go. All right, so now we're going to do some artwork here. So I put it into the PowerPoint here so I could actually draw on it. So I need to go to Insert, Shapes. I need a line. Thank you. So down here, hang on, let me, dang, it's not showing very good. So I got to do something here with it and do format shape. Color, I'm going to make it bright red, and I'm going to make the width of this. There we go. I'll make it a little bit bigger so you guys, a little bit bigger so it shows up even more. So this is where the San Andreas fault line runs right now, that red arrow is. Up here is where you got the Cascadia subduction zone. So if I just take it, Sacramento, state capital, through Sacramento up here to the Cascadia subduction zone up here again, if it were to break off there and all of Baja California and the western half of California were for some reason to fall into the ocean, I'm just waiting for all the sarcastic jokes to come out. And so basically that was to do it and cause all that to fall off into the ocean. And that were to fall off in a quick 24-hour period, you know, start breaking and you go, because even going that much, it's still going to be it's not going to be a fall. It's going to be a, as it moves across, it's going to take, you know, you're talking about, for me to drive from Sacramento to San Francisco at 65 miles an hour takes at least an hour and a half. Okay. So if this slides at 65 miles an hour, it's going to take an hour and a half to fall off into the water. And that's pushing a lot of water. Because, let me see, did I click that one open? I closed that other one. Because of the continental shelf here, it's going to really show things up. Let me go over here and pull out one that shows the continental shelf good here. Do I have one that shows it good? I was looking for another one that shows the continental shelf real good. But yeah, it drops off. Yeah, this one might. When you get off, I know which one would do it. Hang on. This shows it. There we go. You see how it goes up? You have the continental shelf out here and then it drops off dramatically, well, along this line here. And that shelf goes all along here, north and south. And then you get out farther, it really drops off out here. You know, you go out past San Francisco about 60 miles or so, 50 miles, and it really drops off. So Yeah, so it would have to slip and slide, break free from the Pacific plate and just slide like a mudslide on top of the Pacific plate to break free and slide out into the ocean. And it's going to have to slide out there a ways before it drops in. So, yeah, it playing devil's advocate. Okay, yeah, it's going to have we're going to have a horizontal fault underneath a bunch of landmass where it'll fall off into the ocean. Yeah. What are the odds? 1 in 1 quintillion, but it's possible. I'm just looking at it. How many? Let's see it. Actually, that's 100% wrong. Because it's a solid grass base, it will transmit the energy very efficiently, and it did during the last New Madrid slip. Because when the New Madrid had the quake, this last quake there, it rang bells in Boston and broke windows in Savannah, Georgia, and went right through the Appalachia because it's one solid plate. In California, you saw those fault lines there. Every time the shockwave hits a fault line, it dissipates. And it goes to the next fault line, and it dissipates more. It hits the next fault line, dissipates more. That's how come the Loma Prieta earthquake didn't destroy Sacramento, because it had all those fault lines in between and dissipated the energy. It can make it the Mississippi the last time ran backwards for several hours from the shockwave, the force of it forcing the water to flow backwards. And around Tennessee, it actually changed the course of the river, so it cut off part of the state where it wasn't cut off before. All right, let's see what else we get here. There's 169 active volcanoes. There are a whole bunch more inactive volcanoes, and there's a bunch of them down in Southern California, which brings me to another point here. Let me see if I can bring this over here and zoom on the, if it'll show it. I'm trying to get this to show the, I'm gonna have to change what this one reads. So there is a active volcano here that most people don't know about. Long VALL Long Valley Caldera. All right, there's the point of it, but the caldera covers. That's the center of the caldera. But this whole area in here is part of the caldera. This was a bigger caldera than Yellowstone. And this is more active than Yellowstone. So, yeah. And, of course, heading from there up towards, trying to figure out, I would say halfway between Bridgeport and South Lake Tahoe is the last geyser hot springs, and there's a lot of hot springs coming all the way down to Low Pine and down to Baker, down over here. There are hot springs all along the way, and someone's postulated, well, where all those hot springs are, that's where it could break loose from it. Yes, there is magma bubbles along there, and that's why this whole area is very rich geothermal area. Yeah. Okay, hang on. What we got here? Yeah, Yellowstone. Yeah. There is also interesting. I'm going to back out here a little bit. This is going to freak you guys out a little bit. Okay, we're going over here to Arizona, and I need to draw a line here from there up to here. All right, so there's the Arizona, New Mexico, and Arizona, Utah border. This area up in here, let me zoom in on it here so I can find the right towns, get it right here. Got to find the right towns here. Solomon, Asher. Okay, yeah. So from this area here, Miami, Arizona, up towards Hannigan Meadows, down past Duncan and stuff. I'm trying to remember I did research on this big time. This is a volcanic bed out here. Hundreds of volcanoes. And each volcano has erupted once, but it erupts like the salt flows where it erupts, and it erupts for hundreds of years. And so a lot of these along here are along the same line as that. And it goes up to, up here by Alpine. Sorry, it's a little bit low because Alpine is in the area. East of Alpine is this mountain here, is a volcano here. And it goes on up here. You can see all the kind of clumpings along here of ridges. These are all of the volcanic field up in here. But yeah, that would take a bit for that to affect California. Let's see. Is Idaho getting some coastline? Hang on here. Close that line off. For Idaho to get a coastline, there's the western border of Idaho, right there. This mountain range along here is going to have to go away. So no, and since this mountain range is growing, and including the volcanoes on this mountain range, going down here into California, Mount Shasta and Klamath Falls and all these up in here, they're growing. They're not going down. So no, Idaho's not getting a shoreline. Okay, so anyways, even if California were to fracture and fall off in there, how is it going to affect the rest of you? This is where fiction turns scary. All right, you ready for this, guys? If half of California were to fall off into the ocean, or even a quarter of California fall off in the ocean, you're going to lose Los Angeles, Bakersfield, San Jose, San Francisco, San Diego, major ports from across the Pacific for delivering shipping containers. You're going to lose production facilities, factories, stuff like that along in there, because there are a lot of factories down there in Long Beach to Los Angeles and San Jose up to Oakland. through Fremont stuff. There's a lot of factory stuff up in here. You're going to lose a lot of this stuff. And so, and then all the food production in the Central Valley is gone and will be gone for hundreds of years. Even if it just takes half of it, because the salt water washing back in is going to destroy it all. So there is a lot of stuff that comes out of California that affects the rest of the country. Let me do one thing here. So if California was its own country, where would it rank in? Okay. It would be the fifth largest country in the world, GOP, comparing to that of India and surpassing that of the United Kingdom. And you're going to lose all that. Boom, gone. That's what's going to affect the rest of the country. So losing the rest of the, losing the fifth largest GDP in the world is definitely going to affect not only the United States, but other countries as well. Hey, Utah Mike. Yeah, Hollywood can just move to southern Utah and make westerns again in Johnson Canyon and Monument Valley. All right, good thing. Let me look that up. Let me look this one up here. So, NUC nuclear power plant. Oh, I had to type nuclear. It comes up. So it's going to. All right, so it's not going to give me the full thing, so I'll give you this here. So nuclear power plants in California, there are 5. There is the Rancho Seco power plant, but that's up by Sacramento. And then there is Diablo Canyon, which has had problems before. There is the sodium reactor experimental plant, nuclear power plant. There is the Glen Arm power plant. And then there is the I can't pronounce it, Onofre nuclear power plant. Diablo is right on the shore. I mean, it's right there on the shoreline. This one, not sure if it's on the shoreline or not. Let's look at it here. Yeah. Power plant, and then there's other power stations. That's just the power plant. That's not nuclear. That's just a regular power plant. So yeah, so your nuclear power plants. Come on, get rid of all the other. I was showing all the other ones now. Once Google gets its hoozy in an uproar, it does it. So let me get rid of the other ones again. Okay, so yeah, those are the add changes on it. Anyways. And if it were to go and it were to go quickly, people on the east side of the fault line, east side of the rip here, those on the east side, they ain't gonna be able to outrun the tsunami. They're just not. I mean, you can get in their car and they can try hitting the freeway, but the problem is everybody's going to be getting on the freeway, and it's going to be a traffic jam, and you're going to get people on the freeway who didn't gas up, and they're going to get about 60 miles out into the desert, and they're going to run out of gas, and all of a sudden the freeways, are going to be blocked off, and everybody's going to be stuck, and everybody's going to be doing scuba diving. All right, so I hope you guys had some fun and gained some knowledge tonight. Tonight is one of those ones that's like of the one of those improbable, not going to happen in our lifetime events that people like talking about, saying, "Oh, it's going California's going to fall into the earth, into the ocean on the next earthquake." No, but we explored the science behind it a little bit, and we went on, well, all right, what if it does happen? How is it going to happen? And it's it's going to affect everybody. If it were that 1 in 1 quadrillion or whatever it is, quintillion event happened, and it was to fall off, and it was to happen during your lifetime, the financial ramifications on the rest of the country, I don't even want to try to figure it out, because it's you got food, you got financial, then you're going to have all the problems of everything else going on there, the nuclear power plants. You can have all the chemicals, the chemical plants and everything else there, all the contaminants and stuff. It's going to affect everything for quite a while. So with that, let me grab my thing over here and up here. All right, so coming up here Monday on Camp Patton Family Compound is off-grid canning. We're going to talk about that. Here on Gray Man Prepping for Tactical Tuesday, do you have enough life insurance? Yeah, we're going to a little bit of budget and financial on that one for prepping. Thursday is the Midnight Ride. Friday on Camp Patton Family Compound is talk about your garden tools, how to repair them, make them last longer. Next Saturday, the event is after the local mega disaster. So this one was requested about, what if there's just a local mega disaster in my area? So we're going to talk about how that's going to affect your area and going out in ever enlarging circles of effect. We'll pick on several spots in the country and talk about it. And I'm going to prepare some stuff, but if anybody wants to email and have me pick on some area specifically for a local, not a major national disaster, for certain areas, send me an email. Emails in the bottom of the chat, on the bottom of the description, and I will plug your thing into it as well. Concentric, yes, that was the word my tongue got tied on. Concentric rings. So anyways, that's what's next Saturday is going to be, talking about a local mega disaster and how it's going to affect different areas. And you guys can help pick the areas we're going to talk about. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming in. And if you're doing a garden, start working on it. If even if it's just planting portion of it, or start growing stuff in pots indoors, so that when the last frost is gone, you can go out and plant them and learn a new skill every month to make yourself more valuable. All right, everyone. I froze. Take care.